After Yang Ruinian brought up divorce yet again, I calmly signed the divorce agreement and instinctively began to sever all ties between us. On the first day, I sold the marital home I had bought 2 years ago, which was still just a concrete shell. On the second day, I canceled the monthly 20,000 yuan automatic deduction for his grandmother's nursing home and cut off the supplementary credit card used by his sister. On the third day, I called my brother and returned to my real home. The moment the plane landed in a different city, I was suddenly very curious. Without me, the submissive, free nanny who paid for everything, how would Yang Ruinian support his irritable grandmother, his vain sister, and that parasitic junior schoolmate of his? Ms. Zhao, if you are sure you want to sell this apartment, just sign here. Agent Chen handed a contract to me. 2 years ago, it was Chen who had sold this apartment to us. I took the pen, took one last look around this place I once thought would become a home, and signed my name. Regarding the price, it's fine if it's a bit lower. Just sell it as soon as possible. Chen looked at me, hesitating as if she wanted to say something. I knew what she wanted to ask. 2 years ago, when I came to see the apartment arm in arm with Yang Ruinian, I had pointed at the empty concrete shell, excitedly planning everything for the house. Where to put the plants, which corner to customize a bookshelf for. Back then, I was so radiant, looking forward to the future. 2 years had passed. Chen had grown from a rookie in the industry to a top sales agent. But this place had not become the marital home of my dreams. Instead, it was being sold. The turning point for everything stemmed from a jigsaw puzzle. Last week, Yang Ruinian was hospitalized with a fever. I ran around taking care of him, exhausting myself to the point of hypoglycemia, and my stomach problems flared up. Dizzy spell hit me. I lost my balance and instinctively reached out to grab the cabinet next to me. As a result, the puzzle that Yang Ruinian had hidden high up and carefully framed came crashing down. The edge of the frame sliced a long gash into my arm. Intense pain struck instantly, and warm blood dripped down my arm onto the glass surface of the frame. Yang Ruinian came at the sound, but his first reaction was to squat down in distress to check the puzzle. Toward me there was only utter blame and impatience. "Can't you be careful? It's all dirty now. I'm so done with you." I was pale with pain and unable to speak, yet Yang Ruinian shoved and pushed me out of the house. Gritting my teeth, I took a taxi to the hospital alone. I got 20 stitches. When I returned home, I found the door locked. I knocked, apologized, and begged, but the inside of the house was dead silent. I sent him long messages explaining, only to receive a bright red exclamation mark in return. He had blocked me. The early autumn night wind already carried a chill. Wearing thin loungewear and cradling my stitched arm, I crouched at the door all night. I didn't receive a shred of pity or a response from Yang Ruinian. Instead, I found him in his junior, Fang Shuang's, social media posts. Only then did I realize Yang Ruinian wasn't home at all. He had gone out for a dinner party with colleagues. In the photo, Fang Shuang sat in the center of the crowd. She was holding the frame that had been stained with my blood just hours before, smiling like a flower. A Disney group photo puzzle put together by Senior himself. I absolutely love this gift. Yang Ruinian sat beside her, his posture relaxed, his head tilted slightly toward Fang Shuang, wearing a gentle smile I hadn't seen in a long time. Soon, Yang Ruinian replied underneath, "I'm glad you like it." And Fang Shuang replied with a cute hugging emoji. I didn't expect Senior to remember something I casually mentioned. "I'm really touched." Casually mentioned. These two words were like a dagger dipped in poison, stabbing fiercely into my heart. Last month, at the start of autumn, Yang Ruinian unexpectedly ordered me a cup of mango pomelo sago. At the time, I was just happy, thinking this block of wood had finally enlightened and learned a bit of romance. Thinking back now, the internet joke turned out to be a prophecy. When a man is suddenly good to you for no reason, it means he has a guilty conscience. He took his junior's casual remark to heart. Yet, after dating for 5 years and being married for 2, he could never remember that I am allergic to mangoes. Since the 7-year itch was destined to be inescapable, then let it be. Just as I entered the house, Yang Ruinian sent me a message. "My sister is inviting classmates over for a party at 7 p.m. tonight. Remember to tidy up in advance." This was the Yang Ruinian style of giving me an out. He was always high and mighty, always conveying the signal, "I forgive you," in a commanding manner. As if he wasn't the one who blocked me, locked me out, and ignored me for the past few days. In the past, I would have immediately started cleaning the house and decorating it myself. But now, I just glanced at it indifferently and threw the phone aside. I had just packed half my luggage when the sound of the door being pushed open came from outside. Don't worry, that old nanny listens to my brother perfectly. She definitely has it all decorated already. Sister-in-law Yang Rui's boastful voice came through clearly, then came to an abrupt halt. My hands didn't stop folding clothes. I could imagine the shock on Yang Rui's face right now, followed by the ensuing anger. Because not only was the house not carefully decorated, it wasn't even basically tidy. My phone rang. The next second, Yang Rui rushed into the bedroom staring at me, her voice shrill. Zhao Zini, what is the meaning of this? Don't you know I'm bringing friends over tonight? I placed the clothes on my lap, looked up calmly, and looked straight at the sister-in-law. All these years, her university tuition, living expenses, and pocket money were supported by my salary. I barely bought a few new clothes for myself all year, yet I granted her every request. Perfumes costing hundreds, designer shoes costing thousands. After she complained that I was slow to transfer money because I didn't check messages, I even bound my supplementary credit card to her. I had been with Yang Ruinian for 7 years, and I had poured my heart out to her for 7 years. In the end, all I got in return was her calling me old nanny in front of outsiders. My heart felt like it was stuffed with cotton soaked in ice water, cold and heavy. I suddenly felt it was all pointless. I sneered, my tone unprecedentedly indifferent. I know, so what? This is my and your brother's house. What are you yelling at me for here? Yang Rui had never been treated with this attitude by me before. She was stunned, speechless for a moment. The few classmates behind her also sensed the awkward atmosphere and looked at each other. Yang Rui, maybe. We should come back another day. Yang Rui snapped back to reality and glared at me viciously. Let's go. We're going out for hot pot, my treat. It's better than looking at someone's sour face at home. The outer door was slammed shut with a bang. I took out my phone and unhesitatingly froze the supplementary card bound to Yang Rui. Since the nanny isn't serving anymore, there's naturally no reason for the nanny's money to be spent on you. That night, after washing up early, I locked the bedroom door and went to sleep. Until midnight, when the bedroom door was banged on thunderously. I woke up with a start, frowned, and opened the door. Yang Rui stood at the door, eyes wide with rage, roaring at me. Zhao Zini, what the hell are you doing? Why did you stop my card? Do you know how embarrassed I was just now? Suppressing the anger of being woken up, I looked at her coldly. Get this straight, that card is mine. Why should I let you spend it? I've been supporting your brother, supporting you, and even supporting your grandmother all these years. Don't you have any idea? And what right do you have to scream at me here? Yang Rui was choked into silence by my rapid-fire questioning, her face turning liver red. Just you wait, I'm going to make my brother divorce you. She threw down a harsh threat, turned and ran back to the guest room, slamming the door shut. The world quieted down again, but my sleepiness was gone. Picking up my phone, an unread text message caught my eye. It was a payment reminder from the top-tier nursing home where Yang Ruinian's grandmother lived. It informed me that there were 7 days left until the renewal date. Back then, Grandma specifically named this nursing home that cost 20,000 yuan a month. My monthly salary was only in the low 30,000s, and Yang Ruinian only knew how to be a hands-off husband. But Grandma insisted, threatening to die otherwise. Helpless, I had to comply with her wishes. The remaining 10,000 of my salary had to cover household expenses and Yang Rui's spending. Hardly any money was left. As for Yang Ruinian's salary, he always kept it for himself and never contributed a cent to this family. Thinking about it now, I was the only one in the whole family living tightly. I decisively canceled the bank card's automatic payment binding and set it to no longer receive such notifications. This family of ingrates, whoever wants to serve them can do it, but I'm done. The next afternoon, while I was handling my resignation handover, Yang Ruinian called. Little Rui said you were fierce to her in front of her classmates yesterday and even stopped her card. When did you become so petty? She's my biological sister. What's wrong with her spending a little of your money? Has our family mistreated you? You'd better go apologize to little Rui right now and transfer another 50,000 pocket money to her, or I'll divorce you. I rolled my eyes and sneered. Yang Ruinian, she's your sister, not mine. Why should my money indefinitely support an outsider who calls me an old nanny? Actually, when are you coming back? I have something to tell you. The other end of the phone paused, seemingly expecting me not to be so tough. Soon, he reverted to that impatient attitude, trying to suppress me in his usual way. Aren't you just wanting to nag about renovating that broken house again? I just don't understand. Living with my family means we can look out for each other. Why do you insist on spending that money? Is money burning a hole in your pocket? I'm telling you, go apologize to my sister first, or everything else is off the table. After speaking, he didn't give me any chance to refute and hung up directly. Listening to the busy tone on the phone, I was silent for a long time, my heart feeling like it was blocked by something solid. He really forgot. When he proposed, his eyes were sincere. Zinni, when we get married, we'll buy a house that belongs to us. The decoration will be entirely up to you, giving you a perfect home. Later, we did buy the house, but the renovation was delayed again and again. The first year, he said work was too busy to monitor the renovation team and asked me to wait. The second year, he said the family's cash flow was tight and asked me to hold off on the renovation money until finances were looser. I believed him time and again. But now, there won't be a home, and there won't be a future for us. After that, I was busy drawing a clear line between my life and Yang Ruinian's. I didn't contact Yang Ruinian, and naturally, he didn't actively look for me. It wasn't until the day before the divorce cooling-off period ended, near evening, that he sent a message. Drank too much at the celebration dinner. Come pick me up. Only then did I know he had returned from his business trip. I didn't want to respond, but thinking of tomorrow's matters, I picked up the car keys and went out. When I arrived at the restaurant entrance, I spotted Yang Ruinian standing by the roadside at a glance. He looked drunk, his hand naturally resting on Fang Shuang's shoulder, his whole body leaning relaxed against her. Beside him, several male colleagues who were also waiting for cars looked clear-eyed and stood straight. Seeing my car, Yang Ruinian hugged Fang Shuang and opened the back door. The two of them sat in together. Yang Ruinian rubbed his temples. You take her home first. I'm extremely dizzy. I'll rest in the back for a while. I sneered internally. He had found a seamless excuse to openly lean heads with his junior in my car. Fang Shuang met my gaze for a moment through the rearview mirror. She wasn't embarrassed at all. Instead, she smiled generously at me. Sister, don't misunderstand. Senior really drank a lot just now. He might actually be very uncomfortable. Sorry to trouble you. I smiled too. No trouble. But you know, it's better not to get involved with drunken men like this next time. Anyway, calling a taxi yourself doesn't cost much. It's better than waiting together in the cold, isn't it? The smile on Fang Shuang's face froze at the corner of her mouth. After Fang Shuang got out, the car was left in silence. Outside the window, neon lights flickered, and tall buildings receded backward. For a moment, I felt that the memories of those 7 years were also being left behind. After entering the residential complex, I parked the car and looked at Yang Ruinian in the rearview mirror. Yang Ruinian, let's talk. He woke up slowly, rubbed his eyes, and looked impatient. Talk about what? I told you to apologize to little Rui and transfer the money. Did you do it? I took a deep breath, my eyes full of exhaustion. I'm trying to speak to you calmly, can you just? Before I finished speaking, his phone suddenly rang a few times. Yang Ruinian glanced at the screen, and his face changed abruptly. He got out of the car, went around to the driver's seat, grabbed my arm without explanation, and dragged me out. What are you doing? I exclaimed. Caught off guard, I twisted my ankle in my high heels, and a sharp pain shot through it. Yang Ruinian didn't even look at me. He squeezed into the driver's seat and said urgently, Fang Shuang says she feels like she's being followed. She's scared right now. I have to go check. I steadied myself holding the car door, the pain in my ankle intertwining with the chill in my heart. For a moment, I found it incredibly absurd and couldn't help but laugh coldly. Yang Ruinian, use your brain. How long has it been since she got out of the car? Hasn't she arrived home yet? And her home is in the completely opposite direction from ours. Can getting you be faster than getting the police? Yang Ruinian looked at me in disbelief, as if I were a cold-blooded villain. Enough. He seemed to have found a perfect breaking point, glaring at me and cursing. Aren't you just trying to force me to renovate that broken marital house? I'm telling you, I refuse, and I'm going to divorce you. Are you satisfied now? After saying that, he sped away, leaving me only a cloud of foul exhaust fumes. I stood there, my ankle throbbing faintly, but my heart was dead silent. That night, I contacted my brother thousands of miles away and poured out everything that had happened in the past half-month. On the other end of the phone, my brother's voice trembled with anger, but eventually turned into gentle comfort. You did the right thing. Come home. I'm waiting for you at home. Home? Yes, I still have a home, a truly warm home. Thinking of this, my eyes instantly turned red, and the strength I had held onto for so long collapsed at this moment. Soon, I could completely get rid of everything here and go home. Early the next morning, I dug out a divorce agreement that Yang Ruinian had already signed. It was what he gave me at the proposal ceremony. At that time, Yang Ruinian could confidently say, "Zinni, this is my guarantee. If I ever wrong you in the future, I will leave with nothing, clean break. Please believe me." At that time, I chose to believe in his love, thinking this divorce agreement would be sealed away forever. But now, this divorce agreement has become my way out. I signed the duplicate copies of the divorce agreement and went to Yang Ruinian's company. At the front desk, I happened to hear him mentioning my name to a few colleagues, his tone carrying familiar disparagement. A woman like Zhao Zinni just can't be spoiled, or she really thinks she can rebel. She forced me to buy that broken house back then, and I just won't let her renovate it. Look, didn't we save that money now? Divorce? Does she dare to divorce me? She's just an old yellow-faced woman. Who would want her after divorcing me? Listening to this, my heart felt only an eerie calm. Not a single ripple could be stirred. I placed the file folder containing the divorce agreement at the front desk. Please pass this to Yang Ruinian. Thank you. That afternoon, I boarded the plane home. Just as I landed, I received a call from Yang Ruinian. His roar came through. "Zhao Zinni, are you actually sick in the head? Why didn't you pay for my grandmother's nursing home? Do you know she was almost kicked out? If anything happens to her, I'm telling you, we are completely done. You pay the money, right now, immediately, or we really get a divorce." I listened to his accusatory roaring and walked briskly toward my brother, who was waving not far away. "As you wish. We are already divorced." As soon as the words fell, I hung up decisively. Then, without hesitation, I dragged Yang Ruinian's number into the blacklist and deleted all contact methods. But thinking of that elderly woman, I still felt a shred of compassion and dialed the nursing home's number. The phone rang for a long time before being picked up, and I tried to keep my voice calm. "Grandma, it's me, Zinni. Regarding the nursing home fees, I wanted to tell you that for future payments." Before I could finish, I was interrupted by a sharp scream. "You jinx! Shameless thing, you still have the face to call? It's my grandson's money. What right do you have to stop paying just because you say so? Did you secretly take the money to subsidize your poor family? Huh." Her words were like poison-dipped needles, piercing my ears one by one. "I saw long ago that you weren't a decent thing. Our Yang family really had 8 lifetimes of bad luck marrying you. I'm telling you, pay the money immediately, or I won't let you off." So that's how it is. The last trace of softness in my heart completely dissipated, turning into icy mockery. It turned out that in her heart, she always thought I was spending Yang Ruinian's money, and that I had climbed the social ladder to marry into their Yang family. My 7 years of giving, draining myself to support them, appeared so contemptible in her eyes. A sense of alienation and weariness I had never felt before swept over me, making me feel colder and finding it more absurd than Yang Ruinian's betrayal. I suddenly raised my voice, coldly interrupting her endless cursing on the other end. "Fine, since you think Yang Ruinian has been supporting you all along. Then from now on, for all your expenses, please make sure to directly ask your precious grandson Yang Ruinian." I paused, speaking clearly word by word. "Also, he and I have officially divorced. Your Yang family's matters have nothing to do with me anymore." Grandma's voice was so sharp it almost pierced my eardrums. "Good riddance. Married for 2 years and couldn't even lay an egg, my grandson should have dumped you long ago. Since you're divorced, get far away and don't pester my grandson again." The insults on her end didn't diminish in the slightest. Even though I didn't have speakerphone on, my brother beside me heard them. His face was terribly dark. He suddenly snatched the phone from my hand and roared sternly into the receiver. "What kind of thing do you think your grandson is? If it weren't for my sister, your family would have been drinking the northwest wind, starving, long ago. You old hag, take the animals you raised and get as far away as possible. If you dare harass Zinni again, I'll make you suffer the consequences." After speaking, he angrily pressed the hang-up button, his chest heaving violently with rage. I looked at my brother's red face and felt both warmth and helplessness. "Brother, you're a grown man. Why is your temper still like a firecracker? Good thing sister-in-law isn't here, or she'd scold you again." My brother snorted heavily. "If your sister-in-law were here and heard that old thing cursing you like that, She'd only curse even uglier than me. What kind of family is that? As soon as we got in the car, my brother couldn't help but call my sister-in-law and recount what just happened, adding fuel to the fire. Sure enough, my sister-in-law on the other end instantly flew into a rage. Are they sick? Shameless ingrates? Zinni is just too kind. They should have been dealt with long ago. Did you not curse enough? Let me do it next time. My brother drove, while chiming in indignantly. I sat in the passenger seat, listening to my brother and sister-in-law's unreserved defense and condemnation. The ball of ice water soaked cotton that the Yang family had stuffed into my heart seemed to be dried and melted bit by the warmth of my family. The last bit of unwillingness and grievance caused by 7 years of giving being completely denied also gradually dissipated. I picked up my phone and blocked and deleted the contact information of all the Yang family relatives. After doing all this, I let out a long breath, feeling an unprecedented sense of relief and lightness. That night, my brother and sister-in-law prepared a sumptuous welcome dinner, all dishes I loved. I collapsed onto the soft sofa without caring about my image, just waiting to eat. At this moment, the phone rang. It was a strange number from another city. I vaguely guessed who it was. I hesitated for a moment, but still pressed the answer button. Sure enough, Yang Ruinian's exasperated voice came from the other end. Zhao Zinni, are you really crazy? You actually dared to find someone to scold my grandmother. Do you know her blood pressure went up from anger? I couldn't be bothered to argue with him anymore, just giving a faint. My attitude seemed to infuriate him even more, and his volume increased. Also, who agreed to the divorce? Isn't this just you trying to make me yield? Don't even think about it. I haven't even signed the divorce agreement. Do you really think putting on a show makes it real? Stop treating a chicken feather as an arrow of authority. I'm telling you, come over here right now, kneel down, and apologize to my grandmother, or this isn't over. Listening to his shameless remarks, I only felt a deep sense of boredom and absurdity. In just 2 short years, how could he forget everything? Or did he always feel that I was a pushover he could manipulate at will? 2 years ago, because I had witnessed my parents' unhappy marriage, I was full of fear and resistance toward starting a family. It was Yang Ruinian who personally handed a divorce agreement to me as a letter of guarantee. The agreement clearly stated that if this marriage ended, he, Yang Ruinian, would voluntarily leave with nothing. At that time, he had already signed it, and all I did was sign my name and the date, then submit it to the Civil Affairs Bureau to complete the final legal procedure. A month had passed since the day I got stitches, and this 7-year relationship had completely ended. However, some hurts are like that scar. Faint, but the mark remains, reminding me of my past stupidity and devotion. Facing Yang Ruinian on the other end of the phone, who was still roaring and trying to control me like before, I didn't even have the desire to explain. I said nothing, hung up directly, and dragged this new number into the blacklist again. Just as I hung up, my sister-in-law walked over with a small tube of ointment, a gentle smile on her face. Zinni, try this. I asked someone to bring it from abroad. It's very effective for removing scars. My heart warmed and I pulled out a sincere smile. Thank you, sister-in-law. She pulled my arm over, bowed her head, and carefully and gently applied the ointment to the scar. While applying the medicine, she whispered, I think spending 7 years to see a person clearly is worth it. It's better than waiting until you're 70 or 80 to realize you've lived in lies and exploitation your whole life. Right. She looked up at me, her eyes warm and firm. You are still young. You can't have scars on your body, and the same goes for your heart. Don't worry, with your brother and me here, this will always be your home. In an instant, all the grievances, unwillingness, and chill turned into hot tears pouring out. Like a child who finally found someone to lean on, I hugged my sister-in-law and cried my heart out. My brother poked his head out of the kitchen at the sound, his face full of worry. My sister-in-law shook her head slightly at him. Then she hugged me tighter, patting my back gently, again and again. The atmosphere at the welcome dinner that night was very warm and harmonious. My brother and sister-in-law absolutely didn't mention anything about the Yang family, only constantly putting food in my bowl. They chatted about funny things at home and plans for the future. Amid the laughter at the dinner table, I realized that those absurd 7 years meant nothing to me at this moment. The days that followed were peaceful and fulfilling. Yang Ruinian and I went through with the divorce. When we arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau, he still didn't believe I was serious. He handed the papers to the staff without even looking at the content of the divorce agreement. After the cooling-off period passed, when he held the divorce certificate in his hand, he turned pale and left with an angry remark. "Good for you. If you have guts, don't come begging me to come back," and stormed off. I watched his retreating figure calmly, then turned and walked the other way. The assets divided from the divorce arrived quickly. Although this 300,000 yuan was a drop in the bucket compared to what I had put in, it was enough for me to start a new life. I changed my phone number and completely cut off all contact with the past. Using that money, I arranged a long-distance trip for myself. For the first stop, I chose Tibet. The sky was washed azure blue, the snow-capped mountains majestic and holy. Everything purified and soothed my soul like never before. Standing in front of the Potala Palace, with a peaceful heart, I posted a long-awaited update on my social media. The caption was just 2 words, rebirth. However, when I arrived at the next tourist city and was wandering the streets, I vaguely felt some strange gazes. At first, I didn't pay attention, thinking I was just being paranoid. But when I found a local specialty restaurant and sat down to eat, several young people at the next table kept looking at me and whispering together. I finally couldn't bear it, put down my chopsticks, walked straight to their table and asked politely, "Excuse me, do you know me? Why do you keep looking at me?" The people at the table looked at each other, showing embarrassment and a hint of disdain on their faces. One of the young men looked me up and down, snorted, and spoke with a tone full of contempt. "Still pretending? You played a scam to cheat your ex-husband's family out of all their savings and blocked the whole family, making it so the elderly can't afford the hospital, the sister can't afford school, and 3 people almost ended up on the streets. And you still have the mood to tour the mountains and rivers here. Morals are really declining these days." I was stunned, my mind going blank for a moment. These groundless charges were like a basin of dirty water, splashed onto me without warning. I frowned tight, suppressing my anger, and asked, "What nonsense are you talking about? Whose money did I cheat? What right do you have to slander people like this?" Seeing me refute, the man seemed to get more excited. He took out his phone and shoved the screen right in front of my face, his tone full of provocation. "Funny. Do you really think you can hide doing such immoral things these days? Your ex-husband has exposed you. The whole internet knows." On the screen, a video was playing. In the footage, Yang Ruinian was wearing a wrinkled shirt, his hair messy, crying and accusing the camera. Netizens, hello everyone. I really had no way out, so I had to stand up in this way. My ex-wife Zhao Zini used my trust in her, and a divorce agreement I knew nothing about. She cheated me out of all my savings, even including my grandmother's life-saving money. His eyes were red, showing an expression of deep regret. "She has now blocked our whole family. My grandmother was kicked out because we couldn't pay the nursing home fees, and there's no money for my sister's tuition. We really can't survive anymore. Please, everyone, help us." In the video, Yang Ruinian's grandmother and sister also appeared in the corner of the shot at the right time. The old woman wiped her tears, while Yang Rui looked aggrieved and lost. The family of 3 looked incredibly miserable. The comment section below the video had long been overrun, filled with curses and condemnations of the vicious ex-wife. My blood seemed to flow backward instantly, my hands and feet cold, and my body couldn't stop shaking. I finally understood why my brother had sent me a baffling message 2 days ago. "Don't worry about anything, just have fun. Happiness is the most important thing." Holding back the urge to smash the phone on the spot, I put the phone on the table, turned around, and ran all the way back to the homestay. Back in the room, I locked the door, slid down against the door panel to the floor, shaking all over with immense anger and humiliation. But I knew that breaking down right now wouldn't solve any problems. I took a few deep breaths and immediately used my phone to contact a lawyer with a good reputation for defamation cases, introduced by a friend. I tried to state all the facts to her as clearly as possible, including the financial contributions over the 7 years, Yang Ruinian's indifference and cheating, the origin of the divorce agreement, and the cyberbullying I was facing now. On the other end of the phone, the lawyer listened quietly to me, was silent for a moment, and then spoke calmly. "Ms. Zhao, I understand your situation. Don't panic first, and don't make any response online by yourself. What we need to do now is secure evidence. I will send you a checklist. Please collect all evidence that can prove the facts you described according to the list." Hanging up the phone, I looked at the detailed evidence checklist sent quickly by the lawyer. I immediately started rummaging through my phone and cloud drive. As I searched, I couldn't help but smile self-mockingly. How much did I love him? How foolish was I back then? I couldn't bear to delete a single thing about Yang Ruinian. But I never expected that these things I couldn't bear to part with would now become the most powerful weapon to strike back at him. It was a huge irony. However, this saved me a lot of time. I borrowed a laptop from the homestay owner, categorized all the evidence, packed it, and sent it to the lawyer. That night, she sent me a scanned copy of a lawyer's letter. Following the lawyer's instructions, I posted this lawyer's letter directly on the short video platform where Yang Ruinian was spreading rumors. And I explicitly tagged his account and the platform official. Apologize and delete. Otherwise, I don't mind sorting this out with you in court. The truth is never afraid of the sunlight. Because Yang Ruinian's act of playing the victim had caused too much commotion, it had attracted almost the entire internet's attention. As soon as I posted this update, it was like throwing a huge rock into a boiling oil pot, stirring up 1,000 waves. It was quickly reposted and commented on by countless onlookers. What, the main character appeared, and threw a lawyer's letter directly? So tough. Daring to sue? Are bad people so arrogant and shameless nowadays? Waiting for the twist and face slapping. But posting a lawyer's letter directly feels like she has some confidence. She doesn't look guilty. Let the bullets fly for a while. I felt that Yang Ruinian's video had too much trace of acting long ago. Suggest eating melon, watching the drama rationally. Yes, support the woman using legal weapons to defend her rights. We can't listen to just one side of the story. Public opinion on the internet began to divide, no longer one-sidedly insulting me. Due to my tough response and the support of the lawyer's letter, the heat of this matter intensified. After just one night of fermentation, related topics had actually climbed into the top 5 trending searches. And early the next morning, I immediately rescheduled my flight and boarded the plane home. I knew my brother and sister-in-law must also be under pressure, and I had to go back and face it with them. However, when I walked to the door of my home, I was stunned. On the wall of the corridor at the door of my house, someone had written "Bitch go die" and "Scammer die a horrible death" in red paint. The security door was smashed full of dried, stinking egg liquid and rotten vegetable leaves. There was even shocking spirit money scattered on the door handle and the floor. My brother and sister-in-law were cleaning up at the door, with faces full of exhaustion and anger. Seeing me suddenly appear, both of them were stunned for a moment. My brother hurriedly put down the things in his hand and tried to push me downstairs. "Zinni, why did you come back suddenly?" It's okay, go sit in the cafe downstairs first, I'll clean this up right away." Looking at the mess in front of me, my eyes turned red instantly, and I asked with a choked voice, "Brother, sister-in-law, what is going on here?" My brother punched the wall in anger, his eyes red too. "It's all because those bastards from the Yang family spread rumors online. They even dug out our home address. Some crazy people just." My sister-in-law nudged my brother warningly with her elbow, then turned to me, trying to squeeze out a comforting smile. "Zinni, don't listen to your brother's nonsense. It's fine, just a prank by some ignorant people. Don't be afraid and don't take this on yourself. Your brother and I support you. We have nothing to hide." Watching my brother and sister-in-law trying to comfort me even though they were wronged themselves, my self-blame and anger reached a peak. Yes, the instigator of all this is Yang Ruinian. Thinking back to when I got divorced, I still considered old feelings. Thinking he at least needed a place to live, I didn't immediately process the transfer of the house under his name. But what about him? My face darkened. This time, I will make Yang Ruinian pay the price for everything he has done. I used my phone to take photos of the miserable state of my doorstep from multiple angles and clearly, sending them to the lawyer as supplementary evidence immediately. At the same time, I asked her to apply to the court for an expedited hearing of the case. Because the incident had extremely high attention on the internet and caused widespread social impact, the court attached great importance to it. After reviewing the preliminary evidence we submitted, not only did they agree to the application for an expedited hearing, but given the public's right to know and the social warning significance, they decided to livestream the trial process online. From the day I publicly issued the lawyer's letter online, there had been complete silence from Yang Ruinian's side. He posted no more videos and didn't contact me privately. It wasn't until the day of the hearing that I saw the Yang family again. Yang Ruinian's hair was messier than in the video, with heavy dark circles under his eyes, looking exhausted and haggard. His grandmother and sister sat beside him, looking at me with fierce and hateful eyes. Seeing him like this, I realized in a trance that it had been almost a month since we last met. I thought this 7-year relationship would be etched in my bones. But at this moment, I was shocked to realize that in this month, busy with my new life, I hadn't thought of Yang Ruinian once. The so-called unforgettable love turned out to be just self-deception under the sunk cost effect. Before the hearing, Yang Ruinian suddenly walked up to me, lowered his voice, and asked with a complex tone, "Zhao Zini, do we have to go this far? Do we have to make a scene in court and let everyone see the joke?" I couldn't believe my ears, staring at him wide-eyed. Coming from his mouth, these words were truly ironic and comical. "Yang Ruinian, do you still not know who caused all this? Who made up lies on the internet and splashed dirty water on me? Where do you get the nerve to stand here and question me?" He was choked speechless by my repeated questioning. He just looked at me with a mix of regret, unwillingness, and perhaps a trace of resentment. But I no longer cared what he thought. The court officially opened. My lawyer was well prepared, with clear thinking, methodically explaining the case to the judge. She presented a series of ironclad evidence. 7 years of bank statements clearly showed my large monthly transfers to the nursing home and Yang Rui's account. Chat history screenshots showed Yang Ruinian's indifference, blocking, and bossy commands after I was injured. And the original copy of the divorce agreement he signed himself as a letter of guarantee. The lawyer calmly stated, "Your Honor, the facts prove that in this 7-year relationship, my client has always been the main contributor financially and emotionally. She not only bore all the family expenses, but also unconditionally supported the defendant's grandmother and sister." Commotion began to appear in the gallery and the live stream comments, with many people uttering gasps of disbelief and whispering. When it was Yang Ruinian's turn to defend, he appeared helpless and illogical. He couldn't even claim that he gave me the money, because for 7 whole years, he hadn't transferred money to me even once. The dashing and wealthy image he showed to the outside world was built on exploiting me. Grandma assumed Yang Ruinian paid for everything, but it was my hard-saved money. Yang Rui assumed I was taking advantage of Yang Ruinian, unaware that Yang Ruinian never contributed anything. Yet even so, he still chose to ambiguously entangle with Fang Shuang and put me in an unjust situation. Yang Ruinian couldn't deny those black and white transfer records and could only palely repeat, So what? She did it all voluntarily. She was willing to spend money on my family." He flew into a rage out of humiliation, pointing excitedly at the divorce agreement and shouting, "Even so, she tricked me into signing this divorce agreement. I didn't even know when this was signed. She tricked me. This doesn't count." I looked at him calmly, then asked for permission to present one last piece of key evidence. After getting permission, I handed a small USB drive to the lawyer. The lawyer connected it to the court's electronic evidence display system on the spot. On the big screen, a video began to play. It was the scene of Yang Ruinian proposing to me 7 years ago. Yang Ruinian at the scene, the moment he saw the video screen, his face suddenly turned as pale as paper. It seemed he remembered the self back then who vowed solemnly and was willing to use, leaving with nothing, to exchange for my trust. The video fully recorded how he promised to give me a happy home back then, and how he held up that agreement, telling the camera he would love me forever. At that time, his eyes carried sincerity and love, forming an incredibly sharp and ironic contrast with this man in court right now, whose eyes were shifting and whose words were pale. The live stream comments exploded instantly, almost all cursing Yang Ruinian and supporting me. Finally, I stood up. Although my eyes were red, my tone was exceptionally firm and calm. The former Yang Ruinian made me think love could be a lifetime thing, so I was willing to give my all. But love disappeared, and even evolved into hatred and endless fighting. "Yang Ruinian, you are the one who wronged me, so is it wrong for me to take back what I deserve?" As soon as my voice fell, sporadic applause rang out from the gallery, followed by more and more. As for Yang Ruinian and his grandmother and Yang Rui beside him, their faces were now ashen, unable to say a single word of defense. In the face of ironclad evidence and logic, their lies collapsed at the first blow. Finally, the judge pronounced the verdict in court. Yang Ruinian and his family infringed on Ms. Zhao Zini's reputation, rights online, and are fined 100,000 yuan in compensation. And in accordance with the provisions of the valid divorce agreement, the property under his name shall be transferred. In addition, the 3 radical netizens who vandalized my door were also found, and each compensated 5,000 yuan. The gavel fell, settling the matter. When walking out of the courthouse gate, the sunlight was a bit dazzling. Yang Ruinian suddenly grabbed my arm, seemingly wanting to say something more. My brother immediately took a step forward, blocking me and glaring at him. I gave my brother a reassuring look. Then I looked coldly at Yang Ruinian, shook off his hand without hesitation, my tone indifferent. You don't need to say anything. I won't forgive you, nor will I have any contact with you again. Looking at that face I once loved but now only loathed, I said clearly and resolutely, we end here. From now on, we go our separate ways. My brother, sister-in-law, and I got into the car, the engine started, and we drove away from the court. I didn't look back at Yang Ruinian again. The sunlight shone through the glass door of the court onto my body, warm and dazzling, as if dispelling all the haze of these 7 years. Yang Ruinian's figure also completely disappeared from my life. This live-streamed trial caused a huge social reaction, and related topics stayed on the trending searches for 3 whole days. Netizens spoke up for me one after another, condemning Yang Ruinian's selfishness and hypocrisy. My experience also resonated with many women in unhappy marriages. As for me, after the trial ended, I stopped paying attention to outside discussions and concentrated on my own life. Hearing news of the Yang family again was already a year later. By then, I was at a new company and had been promoted to department supervisor thanks to my excellent work ability. My salary doubled, and my life was fulfilling and pleasant. By chance, due to work connections, I came into contact with a former colleague of Yang Ruinian. During a casual chat, she inadvertently mentioned Yang Ruinian's recent situation. She said that because that incident had too big an impact back then, the company fired Yang Ruinian quickly to maintain its corporate image. Later, during an internal investigation, the company also found that Fang Shuang had got into the interview through Yang Ruinian's back door. After entering the company, not only did she not produce any results, but she also often slacked off relying on Yang Ruinian's connections. She was also fired during the layoffs at the end of the month. I heard that last month she became a mistress for some boss and was beaten by his wife until her face was disfigured. Yang Ruinian lost his job, paid the fine, and still had to support his grandmother and Yang Rui. He used the little money remaining in his hand to rent a cramped old apartment. He thought supporting a family was easy, but he had never borne family responsibilities and simply didn't know the high cost of daily necessities. His grandmother and Yang Rui had long been accustomed to the good life I had held up for them with everything I had. They couldn't adapt to a poor life at all, complaining and arguing at home every day. Before long, Yang Ruinian's savings were spent. His deeds had spread throughout the industry, and no company was willing to hire him. With no way out, he could only take odd jobs at construction sites, doing the most tiring work for the least money. Long-term exhaustion and psychological pressure caused his health to collapse, and within less than half a year, he was diagnosed with early-stage lung cancer. But he had no money for treatment and could only tough it out. In the end, it dragged on into the late stages, completely losing hope of a cure, with only a few days left to live. After Yang Ruinian collapsed, life for Grandma and Yang Rui became even worse. As a participant in harming me, Yang Rui's reputation was swept away after the trial. Life back at school wasn't easy either. People who used to cling to her avoided her like the plague. Isolated and ostracized by classmates, she suffered cold looks and ridicule. Finally, unable to bear such a disparity, she chose to drop out and entered society early. But because she had no degree and no skills, she could only do menial jobs to barely feed herself. As for Grandma, since being sent back from the nursing home, she had been depressed. Plus, without careful care, she accidentally fell once, resulting in paralysis. She could only lie in bed, unable to take care of herself, relying entirely on Yang Rui for reluctant care. Listening to the colleague's account, I didn't feel a shred of sadness, only a sigh. I couldn't help but think, if back then, when my arm was cut and I was pale with pain, Yang Ruinian had cared about me one bit more instead of only caring about that puzzle. If he could remember my mango allergy, fulfill the promise to renovate the marital home, and treat me and his family fairly, would everything be different? I thought about it, and the answer was no. Yang Ruinian's nature is selfish. His eyes only ever held himself, and he saw my contributions as merely matter of course. I had just deceived myself for too long, spending 7 years to finally learn to love myself. Even without that puzzle, without Fang Shuang, wait another 10, 20 years, and I would eventually see his true colors because of something else. Moreover, in this world, the most impossible thing is if. Rather than dwelling on the past, it's better to cherish the present. The me of today has a brother and sister-in-law who love me, a satisfying job, and a brand new life. That is enough. Those pains and regrets have all turned into nutrients for growth, making me stronger, independent, and calm. The road ahead is still long. I will carry this sobriety and bravery, love myself well, and live well, greeting the brightness and warmth that belongs to me.